What's up guys, welcome back to the HyperRocket channel. This video is probably long overdue, because I've kind of been grinding invaded lands lately, but I figured that I should probably go back to the regular schedule that I mentioned way back when, earlier in the summer, where I should basically go with a few invaded lands videos and then transition my way back into some other videos, possibly expand the repertoire of the channel. So for this one, I just wanted to go over the top 5 gaming mice for small to medium sized hands. So those are ones that are similar to mine, for less than $50. And I guess my ideology with making a video like this is that I feel like for the most part it can help a lot of you guys who are picking out new mice, just because on a lot of the videos, which actually include mouse reviews on my channel, I've just been getting a lot of comments coming in over the course of several months that are just asking me for my preferences on certain mice and which I should recommend over another. So I just figured I should give you guys my top 5 recommendations for people with similar size hands to me. I play a claw grip, and then that are also less than $50. So moving into the first mouse, you guys can already see it. I think this is just a trusted option. This is the Logitech G203. This is the egg shape, so a lot of other companies have adopted this shape in different ways. I think there's actually a new honeycomb design coming on the way. But just to sum it up, it's a good, well-rounded shape, no pun intended. It's kind of suited to all grip styles, but not perfect for any of them. With the egg shape, or at least this mouse, it's deceptively wide, and so this makes it kind of unusable for certain people, considering how short it is. And another thing to note is that most mice have pretty flat sides, or maybe ones that slope linearly upwards, or I guess have an inverse slope to them. These ones bulge out, so I'm not sure if you could see that on camera. I think that probably illustrates it well enough. But they slope out. For me, this is personally a miss, so I wouldn't main this mouse, but it's definitely not terrible for me. It comes with Omron 20 million switches, so really good for jitter clicking. Also, you can drag click and butterfly click on this mouse, and that's really good. The PMW3360 is a sensor. I think it's a scaled down version of it, so it only goes up to 8500 DPI or 5000. Not really sure. If you're playing with a DPI over 5000, I think you can equivalently just half your DPI and then double your sensitivity in game, and you should have the same effective DPI. Mass on the mouse is 85 grams, heavier than most, similar at this price point and also like onward, but honestly 85 grams is definitely manageable, and if you're using this mouse for a while you'll definitely get used to it. It's nothing you can't get used to. The other thing is that this mouse has a solid shell, so no perforations, so this might be a problem for sweaty hand users, but at the same time I kind of like the idea of having a solid design. I also like honeycomb as well. I'm kind of open-minded to both. But the beauty about this mouse in particular is that it's Logitech quality and it's solid, so this thing is going to last you years to come. You're not going to have to upgrade your mouse for a really long time, unless you really want something lightweight, or if you see another mouse on the market that suits your interests more. But I put this at number 5 just because it's a very safe option, and I think it suits a lot of people but might not be perfect for anyone. So I think prices for this, the G203 goes used for under $20 US, and then new you can get it between $20 and $30. If you want a wireless version of this, at the expense of more weight, you can go for a Logitech G203, and that's the same shape, it's just wireless. And I think it comes with a better sensor too, but honestly that doesn't really matter because on a human level, they're practically the same. But with all that being said, let's move on to mouse number 4. Okay, moving on to mouse number 4. This might be slightly unpopular in terms of how I order them, but this is kind of, in my opinion, the way that the order should go. Just because I think a lot more people rest their palm on the mouse than just do an aggressive fingertip. So I'll expand more later on down the list, but for number 4, I'm going to put the glorious model Ominus. So I think the basics of the mouse are very strong. So this uses an FK2 design from Zowie. It's a very trusted shape, especially for people who play aggressive fingertip. You can play claw on it for people with my size hands, which is how I grip the mouse. It's not the most comfortable though, because this hump is way in the middle and this slope is very, very small. So you're not going to have this feeling of a high profile mouse in your hand. So you have next to no palm support when you use the mouse and claw. That being said, it uses Omron 20 million switches, so really good buttons. It uses a PMW 3360, not scaled down, so you can go all the way up to 12,000 DPI. Also in the software, you have adjustability for debounce time, so you can get your double clicks if you really want them. Mass is 58 grams, really, really light, with solid sides and perforations everywhere else. So this is a really great weight. I think for a lot of people, the lighter that you go, the better. For me, I feel like I'm actually having maybe a plateau at about the 60 gram weight, 60 to 65 grams. So I really like that. But that being said, I'm still getting used to some of my lighter mice, and I'm constantly improving. So I can start to see why people are starting to like lighter mice more and more. Again, really good for fingertip, but I think if you grip the mouse in any other way than fingertip, you might want to hear out the other options on this list. But if you're an aggressive fingertip user and you have small hands and you want that adjustability, I think this is a really great recommendation. The only other thing to note is the mileage with build quality on the copies of the Model Ominus. I'm not sure if the newer batches are better at this, but a lot of people have been reporting broken side buttons and then kinks in the cable that have led to shorting out and stuff like that. Not only that, but the sides flex. So I'm not sure if you can hear that, but I could squeeze in the sides and activate the side buttons. So that's not good. Not a unique quality of this mouse alone. A lot of perforated mice have the same problem. Not only that, but also if I squeeze the top and bottom at the same time, you can activate the DPI button. So listen, look, I'm not pressing the DPI button, but I can do this. I'm not sure if you can hear that, but the DPI button is actuating. So that's something to keep in note, and obviously note that I can't press on the top of the mouse like this and activate the DPI button, so that's never going to happen in game. Also, you're not going to squeeze the mouse so hard, especially in a fingertip grip, to the point where you're going to squeeze on the sides, but it's more of a comment about quality over time, and I figured that you guys should probably know that as well. So, moving on from the Model O-, let's go on to my number 3 pick. Okay, onto my number 3 pick. I'm going to group together the Cooler Master MM710 and MM711. So the MM710 is basically the copy of this mouse without RGB lighting, but it's the Master Mouse S shape. Both of them have the same Master Mouse S shape. It's sort of like a short, wide, bulky design. I think it's a really well-rounded shape, and unlike the G203, which is also a similar small, bulky shape, these have flat sides, so this is definitely preferred, in my opinion, over the G203. I think I can get a really great grip of this mouse, and I think it's ideal for small to medium-sized hands, so my size hands in claw grip. So if you want to rest your palm on the back, you can. This hump in the back is really big, and it'll fill out your hands pretty much in its entirety. I think you also get debounce control in the software, so you can control your clicks as well for those Minecraft players. Speaking of the clicks, it uses Omron 20 millions. And this is our first mouse with an upgraded sensor. So this uses the PMW 3389. It goes to higher DPI, which really doesn't make a difference. But in my opinion, the real advantage of using a 3389 is the peace of mind of being able to swipe faster, but not only that, it feels more responsive in my opinion. If you compare the 3360 with the 3389 at 1000 Hertz, I think I can tell a subtle difference probably like 9 times out of 10 with a 3389 as opposed to a 3360. Some people are not going to be as aware of this difference, so I wouldn't use that as a way to deal break a certain mouse over another, but I do say that it's a nice to have. For the mass of the mouse, this one comes in at 61 grams, I think. The MM710, if you really want to shed as much weight as possible, comes in at 53 grams. Again, that's without the RGB. Again, for small to medium-sized hands, suited for all grip styles, I would recommend mainly for claw. But I also think that if you are an aggressive fingertip user, you can also use this mouse. So I can, for example, like that. And I think this works very well. If you have very small hands, you might be able to palm it, but obviously, like, I don't have huge hands, and my hand just kind of eats the mouse up, so I would definitely be wary about that. So I think this is a really safe choice. Comes in at $40 for the MM711. I think the MM710 comes in at around the same price, maybe between 30 and 40. If you go on the used market, you could probably find a cheaper copy of both of these mice. So I think I've seen a few copies of the MM710, less than 20 bucks. But again, your mileage may vary. And the other thing that I should note, just off topic, the cable on this mouse is probably the best that comes on a stock mouse. I think this is incredibly flexible. It has a little bit of heft to it, which is good because ideally that maybe sheds some light into durability in the long term, and it just does not push the weight on the mouse. So I think this is a really great cable. I wish that more companies use this kind of cable. Moving on from number 3, now we're starting to get into the heavy hitters, and I think some of the best bang for your buck mice. I think this is now a controversial pick. I think a lot of people think that this mouse should be the number 1 budget mouse, but I'm going to put it at number 2 because this is my list. This is the Razer Viper Mini. I think it's a really great mouse. There's a lot to love about it. I think this has arguably the endgame shape for a lot of people with my sized hands. So if you look at the bottom, you can kind of get a better glimpse at what the shape is about. But different from the Razer Viper, this actually comes with the hump more towards the back, and it keeps the same hump height as the Razer Viper on a shorter design. So what that means is that it's going to make it feel like a higher profile mouse in your hand. So what this really entails for a lot of people is that you can use it in fingertip grip like you could in the normal Viper, but it also expands itself to people who like to claw grip, so people like me. I don't think it's perfect for claw grip, especially if you rest your palm on the mouse, just because the hump isn't as far to the back as I would want, not to mention that the hump is still the Razer Viper's hump, which is about like 3.8 millimeters. Ideally, for someone who rests their palm on the back, would want a 4 millimeter hump, in my opinion. I think, that being said, it's a really great shape. Sides are flat, really safe design. It uses Razer's optical switches for the mouse clicks. The downside with this is that you can't get the double clicks from drag clicking and butterfly clicking. So that's that. It uses a PMW3359 for the sensor. I think that's a really good sensor, and in fact, it feels a little bit more responsive to me than the 3360. More maybe just in line. So keep that in mind. Although people have mentioned that there are liftoff distance issues, but honestly, I think that's kind of an excuse. I don't really think liftoff distance is the biggest problem ever. And it only goes up to 8500 DPI, so if that's a deal breaker for you, then I guess I should point it out. Mass on the mouse is 61 grams. I think that's a perfect weight. You can go lighter, but I think for a non-perforated design, that is absolutely great. I think this is excellent for fingertip, as I mentioned before. I could recommend it for claw, especially if you don't rest your palm on the back, but I would wait for number 1, in my opinion. And I guess one of the best selling points of this mouse as well is that there are no build quality concerns. You can try to squeeze this mouse, you can try to crush it, you could slam it down on the ground, and it would probably be fine. It's a really great design, really durable. People have mentioned that the clicks get mushy over time, but that's not going to affect overall functionality. So if you really wanted to, you can keep this mouse for years to come. I think this is a really great recommendation for 40 bucks, which is the MSRP for the Razer Viper Mini. Now that it's a little bit older though, you could probably get it for cheaper. So keep that in mind, keep your eyes out if you're really in the market for this kind of mouse. Moving on to my number 1 pick. Again, this might be a little controversial for a lot of people. Okay, for the people that have been watching the channel for a while, they probably could have seen this coming. I love the Logitech G Pro wireless design. I just think that the size was a little bit too big for me. So having it scaled down in the same shape is absolutely amazing. This is the HK Gaming Mira S. It's my favorite budget mouse on the market. I think for my overall top 5 mouse list, regardless of price, this probably ties number 1 as well. I do have another mouse in my back pocket, which I probably main now over this mouse, but I can kind of use them interchangeably. So I think this is arguably the best shape on the market. It's extremely safe, hump towards the middle, and it's a higher profile mouse. So no matter what, you can fingertip it because of the small size of it, but you can also palm grip it because of the larger hump, and claw grip it because you have that 4mm hump. I think sides are extremely flat and in fact improved over the Logitech G Pro wireless with small curvature along the side as opposed to just being a flat line. And side buttons are a little high up, but honestly I can tilt my thumb and hit them pretty easily. And for a perforated mouse, build quality concerns are really non-existent. You can crush this mouse and it feels extremely solid, probably more solid than any other perforated design I've seen so far. On top of that, for clicks, uses Omron 50Ms. People have reported some problems with these in the past, but because of the software, you can actually adjust for double clicks if they're really becoming a problem for you. I think that's a really cool feature. The PMW 3360 sensor, not much to complain about here. Kind of wish it was a 3389, but not a deal breaker for me, even though I can tell the difference. This sensor is extremely usable. Mass is 64 grams, slightly more than they advertise on the box, but I still think that's a really great weight, and I think it's a really great sweet spot for both tracking and click timing. So I think for Call of Duty players, Minecraft players, Valorant players, Fortnite players, it will suit all of you guys very, very well if you have my size hands and like the claw grip, for example. Again, great all-rounder. I think if I had to pick certain styles that's probably best with, I would probably recommend fingertip and claw. Probably more claw than fingertip. Palm it works for really small hands, but honestly, if you want a palm grip, you probably want something a little bit more comfortable than an ambidextrous mouse, or false ambidextrous mouse, but I guess that's something to keep in mind. When it comes to build quality, again, I touched on this before, on my copy and all the copies I've tried, I haven't had any problems at all with this mouse. Apparently the ones in the first batch have had some problems, so I think like a few YouTubers reported faulty side buttons, someone reported I guess faulty clicks or a loose right click or something. I don't know. Problems with the first batch, but the mouse has been out for a few months now, and at least these later batches, I see nothing wrong with them. Again, you can like crush the mouse, and I've had no longevity issues. So I think this is a really safe option at the very least. If you're not crazy about the shape, at the very least, it's a safe option. If you are crazy about the shape like I am, this is maybe even endgame for you, and it could probably last you years to come. So for small to medium-sized hands, I think this takes the overall recommendation, top recommendation in my book. But with that being said, I want to thank you guys all so much for watching. This was a really interesting video to make. It sort of just gave me an ability or the opportunity to just sort of voice my opinions about some really cool gaming mice. So really awesome again, and hope you guys found some utility in this kind of video. And if so, please leave a like and subscribe if you're new. Leave a comment down below letting me know what you guys think of my list, also what you guys think I possibly missed, and some other options out there that we could definitely entertain a little bit. But again, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.